Oh, this is the one where the Fonz goes, "Ay! Ay!" How you doing? Welcome to another recent game pickups video. I'm gonna try and go by release date this time. So, to start things off, for the Game Boy, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Fall of the Foot Clan. I'm a huge Ninja Turtles fan, especially to the older stuff from the early 90s and stuff, and I've heard about this in some of the old Nintendo Powers that I have, from the early 90s and stuff, and it's been brought up a number of times, mainly in the top 20 Game Boy games. It's always mentioned in there, and I think it was actually in a walkthrough. I think there was actually a walkthrough in one of the Nintendo Powers I have, so I was like, I'll give it a shot. It's actually really good. It's short, of course, which makes perfect sense because it's a portable game. Lost my train of thought, but the music is awesome. The graphics are decent. So, yeah. Next we have, as I mentioned in my second recent game pickups video, I'm a sucker for space shooters. So, we have Thunder Spirits for the Super Nintendo. If you remember the show, Nick Arcade from the early 90s, I've actually been watching that quite a bit recently. So, they actually played this on an episode, and I was like, I might have to look into that game. It's impossible. Good. It's not a bad game, but it's impossible. But the music is really good. What brings me to the next game is, I recently saw the new Jurassic Park movie, or Jurassic World. Really good movie. If you haven't seen it, I won't spoil anything. I won't give anything away. But and a lot of the Jurassic Park movies have been on too. Like the first 3 movies have been on. And I thought, maybe thinking about the old Jurassic Park games and stuff. So I was like, you know what one was really good that my brother used to rent all the time was Jurassic Park 2. The Jurassic Park Part 2: The Chaos Continues. I remember my brother owned the first one, which was like an overhead shooter. You play as Alan Grant. The second one was, I forget if Alan was in it or not, but it's a 2-player side-scroller, more like Contra. Hard, but it's really good. Yeah, it was basically a sequel to the first game, so it had nothing to do with The Lost World or anything. Most people like the first movie the best. I kind of like the second one, The Lost World, maybe because it had more carnage in it or something, or dinosaurs killing people, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, this was a good game that, like I said, my brother used to rent it all the time, and what was cool was that, naturally there's a part when you're riding on a Jeep, because there's alternate missions, so it has almost that you pick your mission. One of them is, you're on a Jeep riding away, being chased by a T-Rex, which is really cool. Next, for N64, Nintendo 64, we have Hexen. I think this was actually one of the first games my brother bought for N64, and we used to play it all the time. It's basically I don't know if it's a first-person perspective. I don't know if I'd call it a shooter necessarily, because it's mostly melee attacks. You could do co-op, which was really cool. You could be a warrior, or a cleric, or a wizard. I remember I always liked the wizard. I think my brother liked the cleric. But yeah, we used to play this all the time. This was a really good game. You fight, it's during the Dark Ages, so you fight monsters and demons and stuff like that. I think that's the villain on the back, the main villain of the game. I forget his name, but I'm pretty sure that's him right there. To get somewhat off topic, I'm still collecting Nintendo Powers. One I'd like to point out very briefly is Volume 98 from 1997, August 1997, which was, the cover is grazed by Star Fox 64, one of my favorite games of all time. It's a nice little introduction to the game in here, as well as other stuff. Yes, Star Fox 64 3D was actually the first game, one of the first games I bought for my 3DS, because to have that game on the go was really cool, and I'm really looking forward to the new Star Fox game for the Wii U, Star Fox Zero. And I also know that there was an issue of Nintendo Power that had this little paper, this Arwing paper model thing that you could cut out and make. So I wouldn't mind picking that up, but I'm not sure what volume number that is or what issue that is. So if you know what it is, you can go ahead and mention it in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. Moving on, we have Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire for the Game Boy Advance. Now this game, as I mentioned, the original Pokemon Pinball for the Game Boy Color in my top 5 Pokemon spin-off games. And I remember that game, like I said in that game was so much fun. I used to play it all the time. So this one, when this first came out over 10 years ago, I remember almost buying it a couple of times. So, 10 years later, I finally did. It's also available on the Wii U Virtual Console, because that's... If you're not familiar with the Wii U, the Virtual Console in there is NES, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, and they recently released N64 and DS on there as well. But so, this is available on there, and I couldn't decide if I wanted to get it on there or the physical copy. I decided on the physical copy for a couple of reasons. One is because, as you can tell, I still like physical games. And the other was because I'm trying to save some room on my Wii U for other stuff. The only problem with buying the physical copy of this is that basically the game is like maxed out, like everything's already unlocked and stuff, so it kind of defeats the purpose almost. So I have to see if there's a way I can erase the data, or maybe I could just change the battery or something. Next we have Dragon Quest VI, Realms of Revelation for the DS, Nintendo DS. Again, in my second recent game pickups video, as I mentioned, I'm a huge fan of the Dragon Quest series. I didn't really get into them until my teen years, because this was originally on the Super Nintendo, and this is like a remake, and it's really good. And I know there's a new one coming out for PlayStation 4, which unfortunately I don't have, so I'm hoping it'll come out on some of the other consoles. Maybe it's just, I don't know why, but I feel like Dragon Quest games, it's like they just feel right on a Nintendo console, especially like a portable one, like the DS or 3DS or whatever. So, now we're going to jump into the newest consoles. For Xbox One, I have Dead Rising 3, another series that I'm a big fan of. I've beaten the first two, and I actually just beat this one a week ago, and I got the best ending. I've been planning to buy this, but I kept putting it off. I was waiting until the price dropped, and so not only did the price drop, but it also came with some bonus content, some bonus DLC. The only thing that kind of bugs me with this was, it doesn't bother me, but it was like, they kind of changed the survival thing around a little bit. Like, it was one of my favorite things about the game is finding other survivors and escorting them to safety, and in this one there's like multiple safety locations, so I guess that makes it a little bit easier. Maybe that's what they were going for. But there's another thing that's like, you can save someone. It's like you'll find a survivor surrounded by zombies, and you kill all the zombies off, and then they're like, okay, good, okay, I'm good, thanks, and they just like run off. So it's like, okay, so how do you know they got away? How do you know they're still alive? Other than that, really good game. And yeah, you can combine vehicles as well as the weapons. It's really cool. And this takes place quite a few years. I'd say at least 10 to 15. I'd say at least 15 years, maybe, after the first game. The second game. Excuse me. And there's a few. One of the things that's really cool is there's a few returning characters. I won't spoil that for you. The only thing that I find a little strange about the Xbox One games is that they reversed the thing. Normally the disc is here and the game is here. No, the disc is here and the instructions or whatever over here, so for whatever reason they reversed it, but I don't know. Whatever. Next we have Wolfenstein The New Order for, Xbox One, of course. Yeah, I never really got into the... This is blank, I'll get to that in a minute. I never really got into the Wolfenstein series. I used to watch my brother play them all the time, and this one I was like... I remember seeing it in stores and stuff, and I was like, yeah, it looks kind of cool and stuff, and then I actually saw someone do a review on it, and I was like, I have to buy it now. And it was one of those situations where you put off buying something that's like, it's like you see it in the stores, and it's like, oh, I'll buy it the next time, or the time, you know, it's like, or I'll buy it whenever. You're planning to buy it, gone. So, unfortunately, I had to buy it used, and the kid gave me a copy with a blank case, like it doesn't have any, you know, cover art or anything, so, I mean, the game works fine, but, you know, a blank case, like, really? So I might just take, like, I might just take, like, a sheet of paper and put some, like, art on it or something to put in there. Yeah. Really good game, though. It's, basically, they're retelling the series, kind of like, they're retelling the series, and what's really cool is that it's a whole new take on it, so it naturally starts off during World War II, and the hero is badly injured, and then he's hurt for, like, he's basically like a vegetative state for over a decade, and then when he finally comes to, World War II is over, the Nazis won, they rule the world, so he forms like he joins a revolution, or a resistance, yeah. Wicked good game. Next we have 2 more games, but Mortal Kombat X, or 10, whatever you want to call it. Wicked good game. Wicked good. Again, another series that they're kind of retelling, and so basically the last Mortal Kombat game was retelling of the first 3 games, so this is a retelling of the 4th game, which is why Shinnok is back. And, Shinnok and Quan Chi and all them. The story mode is really cool. It takes place, I think, like 20 years later, so there's a lot of next generation characters, like Kenshi's son and Jax's daughter. A lot of new characters, like there's this guy named Aaron Black, who's probably my best character because he's like a cowboy kind of guy, or like like a bounty hunter or something. He's human, but he lives in the Outworld, excuse me. Yeah, he's wicked. I beat arcade mode or towers mode with him without dying. So I was like, yeah, I think I found my best character. Guy's awesome. And yeah, I just want to spoil something real quick. Is that, you know, naturally the last boss is Shinnok. You fight him as a regular guy, and then if you remember the talisman from the 4th game, he takes that and like absorbs it into his body and says like, "Watch as I absorb the power of Earthworld," and he turns into this like demonic creature, called Corrupted Shinnok. He looks awesome. And you fight him again like a boss. He looks like something that would be in Doom, like. But yeah. So one last game. It's Splatoon for the Wii U. I remember seeing the trailer for this at E3 last year, and I was like, oh, it looks kind of cool. And then, as time went on, you know, they're showing different videos and stuff for it. I was like, I have to buy that. So I did buy it. I bought it the day after the launch day, so unfortunately, of course, they were sold out of Amiibos, but yeah, it's kind of like, I guess you could say it's Nintendo's take on online deathmatch. You know, well, maybe this is just the beginning. I'm sure they'll make other stuff as time goes on, because that's the most popular genre right now, is like first-person shooters and online deathmatch and stuff. So it's 4 versus 4, you know, on 2 teams, and it's like basically you play as these characters. Well, you can see them on the back here. Well, they're on the front too. They're called Squidling Kids or something like that. Because it's like their hair looks like tentacles, and you squirt ink everywhere. I think there was a mode like this in another game or something, but it's like you cover the ground in ink. You know, it's called Turf Wars, and it's a 3-minute time period, and whoever covers the most turf wins by the end of the time period. And the ink, you know, it's like the ink is all different, like fluorescent colors, like green and pink and purple. So that with like some of the levels and stuff, and the music, it kind of has a great 90s feel to it, which is probably why I like it so much. And you turn into squids, because that's how you refill your ink gauge or your ink gun. You know, there's different kinds of guns and outfits you can get. You can customize your character. Really fun game. It's a brief little story mode too, but you know, it's all different kinds of weapons and stuff. So yeah, I'd recommend it if you have Wii U. But it's and like most online deathmatch games or online games, the online game mode is a very addicting game. That's the thing with, you know, deathmatch and stuff. But yeah, that's it for this one. That's all. So thanks for watching. If you if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and maybe hit that little subscribe button, because I'd really appreciate it. And